Yo, what is up, y'all? Plugged Away Zay here. Today we're gonna break down this, synthy type of beat for like Travis Scott, Don Toliver, pretty much just like the whole Cactus Jack label, and then like producer wise, Mike Dean, Wondagurl, Boy Wonder, and Dez Wright. We're gonna go through the loop and the manipulation of the loop, which there's not much at all. We're gonna talk about the drums, of course, or like also added sounds that I added to the loop. There's only one, but I feel like it does add a lot to it. We're gonna talk about like the switch ups of the drums, and then effects, of course. Can't forget the effects. And gonna talk about the master, and most definitely gonna talk about the arrangement because the arrangement does play a big part in this beat. Let's get into it. So we're gonna get into the first thing, the loop, which came from Daniel Sartu or Sarto, and also David Morse. This is what it originally sounds like. So I originally had the idea to just go ahead and like fruity slicer and slice it up and do whatever, but after I heard that guitar, I just realized there's enough different components in it already to the point where I didn't really have to, flip it or go crazy with it. So all I did was actually just pitch it up, and I threw on an EQ to, of course, EQ out the lows. Of course, the Valhalla vintage verb on it. I just messed with the decay. Now it's not showing that because I actually have it automated, and we'll get to why I have it automated later on. It's just has to do with something in the intro, but I'll get to that eventually. So just pitched up. That's all it is. Like I said, I felt like there was so many components in there to where I didn't really have to go crazy with the flip. We have one more thing that's part of the melody, and that was this little sound that I added, which was just pretty much this sound right here. So pretty much it's just that. I originally recorded it in a octave higher, so it really came into this. It just kind of gives that extraterrestrial vibe to it, and gives it that little spacey vibe. So yeah, it's something simple. It just happens every now and then throughout the beat. But yeah, now into the drums. First thing I started off actually was the hi-hats, and the hi-hats are heavily inspired by Wondagurl's kind of hi-hat process, simply because the amount of different hi-hats I have in here. I had a hi-hat originally for just like keeping the tempo, kind of getting the groove. I added like 1 or 2 rolls in this pattern. This is what it sounds like. So yeah, that's what that sounds like. And then I added another hi-hat. And then I added one more hi-hat, which pretty much added more rolls, and it sounds like this. And you can see the velocities are much more turned down, right? And then when you put it together, so that's hi-hats. The next thing I went to was, of course, the rim shot. So yeah, something simple, nothing too crazy. This part is the exact same as this part, nothing different at all. But it just kept a simple groove, and when you put it with the hi-hats, it sounds like this. At this point, I think I went into the 808, and there's actually 3 different 808 patterns, but I had 2 separate ones, and then the second one I pretty much made unique and made another one. This is what that sounds like. So something simple. In terms of where I place the notes, you're just following the root notes. So it's like, me personally, I do know music theory, and I do have an ear for like notes and stuff, and I do know how to read music. So for me, it comes much easier to put down these notes. But the best thing you want to do is, if you don't know music theory and you don't have the ear for it really to prevent your 808s from going out of tune, you just want to figure out the key of the loop, which most producers do label in the loops, of course, and then whatever they label the key as, then you just find out the scale for it, and you just place the notes on the scale to your liking, or rhythm or whatever. The second one, it sounds like this, and this is for the second verse. So something simple, it's super simple. Once again, you're just following the root notes. So then the third one that I made, which was just a unique version, sounds like.
Nice.
Right, so the only things that changed was pretty much right here. So I just want to add like more double hits. Let's get into this offset snare. It sounds like this, and it's pretty fucking simple. Fuck with the velocity and the notes of the snare to give it a different feel. The next thing I want to get into, which is a very simple thing, is the kick. I just followed the notes of the 808. If you notice, not every 808 is being accompanied by a kick, right? So like, I would have a kick here if I was accompanying every 808, but that's just to let the 808 breathe in a way, and those double takes makes it feel like it's hitting much harder. So I didn't accompany every note of the 808, just what I thought would make it hit a bit harder. The next thing that I did was the clap. Actually, I did the snare. And this is just a standard snare. It's called the snare diplomatic. I added reverb on that. Actually, I just took some EQs and boosted the mids and boosted the highs because it sounded like shit at first. I threw some reverb on it. It was a simple reverb, so I boosted the dryness a little bit more, took down some of the wet so there wasn't as much decay. And then just at this last part, I did add like some weird hits to it, so it's like ga 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 da da da. It's just so it makes the beat sound a bit more interesting. So it's different from the rim shot, and that's what you want. You always want something different. You never want the same thing. The next thing I did was add a clap. I was just like, all right, let's just add a clap now. So here's what the clap sounds like. The clap mimics the snare. Just a standard clap. It mimics the snare diplomatic, which is a little different from the rim. There's no like crazy rolls with the rim, but with the clap and the snare there is. And that was just to add some like complexity to the beat, honestly. This is where the third 808 kicks in, where the second one starts, and then you listen to the third and you get the context. That just brings uniqueness to the beat. You don't want to have the same exact shit going throughout the beat and stuff like that. Something I do want to touch back with though is the preset I used for that little spacey sound I added. Yeah, that comes from Juno 6V. If you don't have the Arturia bundle, I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
You're not that guy.
You guys need to get that shit. Most definitely if you want to get into that analog, synthy type wave, and especially with making loops, most definitely get the Arturia bundle. And the preset that I used for that was Dreaming of a Harp, which is just in the D section. Pause. I just boosted the mids, boosted the highs a little bit, or boosted the mids and then the high mids a little bit, just to give it a bit more presence. Then I added a ref plate. If you don't have the Arturia effects bundle as well, make sure you guys get that shit, because that shit is just crazy. I think the best ones in there are ref plate 140. Oh, Preview 76, that's a good one. That's an EQ, but that has some hidden sauce in there. I'm not gonna even lie. And then EFX fragments. EFX fragments is hard. Make sure you guys go check that shit out. Get the bundle. Get both bundles, okay? Anyways, so I have this rep plate on here. It's just a reverb. I just increased the drive because it's usually at 60, so I just put it at 46. And then I turned the model to punchy, and then of course I fucked with like the dry and stuff like that. So yeah, I just turned it down a bit, didn't mess with the width, and it was just that simple. Then I added Portal, everybody's favorite right now, and I went into Max Shooter's Wave Crates 1.5. Shout out Max Shooter 49. Make sure y'all go follow him. And I used the same preset. I did not have a lot of that effect on there at all. We get into the master. I keep my master pretty fucking simple, right? Barometric EQ, not EQ2. I use the regular EQ. And all I did here was I boosted band 2 to 0.3 dB. Now, usually I don't do that. Usually I don't mess with this one, this third one, which I boosted to 0.5, but I wanted the 808 to be more present. So I just boosted the 808s a little bit more just to give it that more growling type presence that you hear in a lot of Travis Scott beats. I boosted the highs, of course, to like 1.5, and then the high mids to 0.5, and like the mids to 0.3. And then I added a fruity soft clipper. How I arranged this beat, so a lot of people have probably been looking at this little volume part right here, and all I did was I took a part of the melody and I reversed it, and I wanted to give it that feel of like the sound was increasing and then it drops back down to a regular sound. And that's where this reverb comes in. Here's what it sounds like. It's just the reverse of the melody. Right, so it just gives you like a little spacey vibe, like you're walking through a fucking, I don't know, you're walking outside and it's all snowy, or I don't know, bro, like whatever you think. I just wanted to give a crazy pause. It's just like what just happened, and then it, you know, just comes back in. So that's why I added that little pause right here, and it sounds like this. So it's not a major pause, but it does give some space, and then it's like bring it back in, and this is where I add those little sounds, right? So you have these these first 8 bars, I guess you could say, which well, actually kind of goes past 8 bars. It's like 8.25 bars.
What?
And then you have these 16 bars right here, and then I bring in that's when I bring the rim, the first 2 hi-hat patterns, and then the open hats, which I didn't show. And yeah, there is another hi-hat pattern, but it's pretty simple. It's pretty fucking simple. Nothing crazy. And then it goes into these drums, which turns into the first verse actually, which only lasts for 16 bars. Then of course we have just a 16-bar hook, and then into the 24-bar second verse, which is where all these switch ups happen, like the clap. Then it goes into another 16-bar hook, of course, and then the outro, which I just increased the reverb again, so it just gives it like a crazy outro, pretty much. Of course, you can't forget the tag. I just pretty much threw the tag in there on the reverby part because my tag also has like an immense amount of reverb on it, and I also did with like the increasing voices because I have a riser, so it just blended perfectly. Kind of what it sounds like.
They say you don't plug the way.
Yeah, that shit sounded fresh. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you guys are not subscribed, make sure you guys subscribe to the Sound Painter channels, especially if you guys want more in-depth tutorials like this. For you guys who have been following me since like 900 followers, you guys know that I've been really into the dark trap and pain type of vibes, but I really am making a transition over to this analog hardware sound because it's just something that's a lot more interesting to me and something that I just really love. I think for somebody who's always been in music and played an instrument for like 12 plus years of their life, it's just complex is more of my thing, being complex.
Cap.
And I just feel like these type of beats allow me to do that. So like I said, if you guys want more tutorials for like this, just keep asking for, you know, new requests and stuff like that. But until then, make sure you guys subscribe. You guys stay safe, and we out of here.
This nose is big as hell, boy. Your dick small, cuz. I'm a child, nigga, a nose.